Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows home so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
You buy a pair of socks, that's 2 socks. You buy a pair of Bombas socks, that's 4 socks. Because one purchased is one donated. Socks are the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So when you buy a pair of super comfortable Bombas socks, you're also donating a pair. Bombas customers have powered over 150 million donations. So Bombas would like to thank you 150 million times. But we only have like 30 seconds. Go to bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
A Mochi Moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi Moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
Hold on to your broomsticks, witches.
Eavesdroppin.
Michelle. What's that?
It's me being spooky.
Spookies.
Spooky.
You know why it's spooky?
Fucking Halloween.
3 days to go. Is that right?
3 days to go.
No, 2 days to go, is it? What's today?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't even know what day of the bloody week it is half the time.
I would say it's 2 days to go.
2 days to go when you're going to be walking down the street and you're going to see people in that fucking V for Vendetta mask that we talked about in a previous episode. People are going to be dressed as ghosts. Somebody might have even stolen my idea as dead ballerina. Not that it was my idea really, like for all time, but I have been a dead ballerina as a Halloween costume.
I've seen some great animal costumes on the social medias, by the way.
Oh, like dead animals?
My favourite one was a dog. No, it's not dead. Live animals.
Oh.
Dressed up for Halloween.
Oh, like actual...
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I thought you meant like being a furry. So you dress up as a furry, but you've got like your throat slashed or, there's like brains coming out because you've been hit by a car or something.
No, you put wings on your dog or you put a spider costume on your chihuahua and it looks like it's got all these little legs are dibbly-dabbling all across the floor. Or you spray him in fake blood and give him an amputated bleeding leg to put in his mouth.
Or you introduce yourself, because we haven't even done that yet.
Oh, whoops. Hi.
Oh, whoopsie.
I'm Geordie.
And I'm Michelle, and you are listening to Eavesdroppin.
Eavesdropping. That sounds like Larry the Lamb. Eavesdropping. Ha, ha, ha. That's more like it.
Eavesdropping.
Oh, now, there you go. That's scary. Oh, yeah.
Yes. The Halloween edition.
The Halloween edition. This is a weekly storytelling, real life, true crime, supernatural podcast. 2 people talking. We know each other. We've known each other for some time. Well done to us. You probably know us if you're a regular eavesdropper. If you're not, welcome.
And if you're not a patron, because we do have a subscriber-based
Ka-ching. Yes,
service,
it does cost a little bit, just enough for a little coffee.
Subscriber-based over on Patreon. If you're not a patron yet, why the bloody hell not? And be careful, because in these spooky ooky times, you don't want to be cursed.
No, you don't.
For not being a patron.
And be careful what you wish for as well, Michelle, which is what I thought you were going to say. Yes, this month's patron is also a spooky-themed one. We have a whole list, 10 films from Reece Shearsmith, care of Reece Shearsmith, the comedy actor and writer. I've snaffled them from somewhere. I'm not going to say where, because then you can just find them and you won't listen to our Patreon. But we also have fan tales as well, some interesting celebrity interactions, let's call them. So go and have a listen.
Have a listen if you haven't already.
We may be talking about some people you don't know if you're not a regular. Some of them will be regular listeners, or they'll be Michelle's mother, Jen.
Oh, Jen.
We don't go a week without mentioning Jen.
No, we don't. I've got some Jen-isms coming up. Jen questions.
Okay. But before we do that, Michelle.
Yes.
Is it okay that I read out You know, a few weeks ago we had on Patreon, we had an agony aunt column. And then the following week we had to, because we didn't have time for them all, because there were so many. You all wrote in your problems.
And we had a taste of Patreon right in the middle slap bang of our normal episode.
Well,
wonderful.
One has just trickled in from, it's a real life problem, by the way, so we're not going to laugh. It's not funny. This is from Hippie Chippy, let's call her, who says, am I being unreasonable? And I hope it's okay to read this out, but surely she wouldn't have emailed us if it wasn't. She says, we moved into a flat last year. The neighbours on one side are lovely and friendly, but the other side has a family who seem to have zero ideas of boundaries.
Oh.
For quite a few weekends, they've had extended family visit, which is fine. What I don't think is fine is when a group of kids decide to play in our front drive. They run up and down and stand immediately outside our front window, so it feels like an invasion of privacy as they're shouting and throwing balls around. Hippie Chippy, this is sounding very familiar, actually. I think I've experienced something like this once years ago. There's lots of noise and screeching, and the parents just allow them to do so. They stand outside chatting and watch them do it. I'm not being funny, but when we were little, we would play in the street, but would never go on someone's property. My parents would have gone mad if we played outside a neighbour's window. When it happens, I can't hear to work or rest. Don't get me wrong, it's lovely to hear kids playing and away from screens, but at the same time, it feels like they're in our house. Am I being unreasonable to ask them to move or just a grumpy old woman? I'm going to flatly say, tell them to fuck right off, Chippy Hippie.
Yes, I would agree. Now, look, I was that kid in some ways.
What, a little disrespectful boundary crossing, going right up to someone's window and flashing your tits.
No.
I don't know. What were you saying?
No, I was going to tell you about when we grew up. We grew up in sort of a housing complex that was a little bit of an experiment. They had sort of this cul-de-sac where all the houses had backyards, but they all had no fences and they all backed onto this kind of big communal area. So there were no boundaries when it came to your property. And it was it was a very, 80s concept, encouraging community and connection and people getting to know each other and know your neighbour and all that kind of stuff. Well, we were kids. Kids don't think about shit. They don't connect anything. There was this big white wall. And so we got tennis rackets and we would be like bouncing balls and hitting it off. It was like a squash, big white wall. Well, anyway, it's a side of someone's house. But as children, we just saw a white wall that was begging to have balls thrown at it and to play. We were just playing around.
Begging for balls.
Begging for balls. Jen, God knows, she was nowhere to be seen. I don't think she knew what was going on. But of course...
Working, probably.
Eventually, they came out and said, you've got to stop doing this, started screaming at us. This was also the guy who would mow the lawn in a pair of boxers and his wife's bra. To protect his nips from... Well, it was hot. It's a hot Australian summer. So he
rocks
had a little bra.
Hitting back.
Well, no, it was from the sun.
Oh, keeping his nips nice.
Keeping his nips shaded from the harsh Aussie sun. So, look, I do understand that kids do weird things without realising. But if the parents are standing in the driveway and allowing this, then I think you have every right to say, hey.
I think so too, Hippie Chippy. I don't think you're being a grumpy old woman at all. You can't rest, you can't work. And also, they're on your driveway. I would hate that.
Me too.
I only allow my postie Dan to come on my driveway without my prior permission.
Look, I think we all get scared when people are on our property. I mean, I had some Asian guests walk in and just sit on my chair outside my...
Well, I was...
You were there. You were...
No, we were recording.
Yes, and I was like, what the hell? Who's outside? So, it can feel very invasive to have strangers there.
Yes. However... Hippie Chippy, I would say be careful how you approach this because I've got a feeling it won't go down well.
No.
And I say this because Jannica and Steve from Amsterdam were my neighbours many years ago. We also had a very similar situation where it was flats. They all faced a big communal green and the people who were opposite us, they moved in after we did, and it was a grandmother and she often had her, I would say, slightly troubled grandchildren to stay. And it was a bit of a hectic, chaotic thing. Their garden looked out over the green and into our flat as well. So I can't quite remember all the details because I had very young children at the time, but I do remember there was some discomfort.
Yes.
And I think we had the children in our house quite a lot and we didn't want it. Yannicka, do write in and remind me. However, that doesn't really help Hippy Chippy. Is there a big car that you can put in your driveway, or is there some barbed wire you can erect?
I would also say, on your theme of be careful, you do have to continue living next door to them.
Exactly.
They could either be polite and say, I'm very sorry, I didn't realise, or they could flip the other way and go,
They could flip.
fuck you, I'm making your life even more of a hell. Yes, I think, is there something you can do where you've got something in your driveway so they cannot play? Maybe buy some rose bushes in nice pots and pop them there so they can't, so you're creating a boundary, but under the guise of beautifying your space.
Or get my husband round with his trailer and all of his bits of wood and metal and his big bowl of smelly mushrooms that has been sitting on our driveway for weeks. He can make it a right tip. And no one will want to come on to your driveway.
That's the best answer so far.
Available to hire. So, Michelle, what's new?
What's new?
Do you have an outfit for Halloween? Have you got plans?
I have no Halloween plans. I will be in Sweden, and I'm not sure that they do trick-or-treating. And even if they do, I stay in a place that's so remote that I don't think anyone would
one's coming
to our house.
No
and
one's
if they
coming to you.
did, I probably would think they've got a fucking knife, like the Scar cannibal. So if the family are planning some kind of wonderful Halloween scary situation, and in fact I might even perhaps suggest a Halloween scary movie night, then
That's
yes,
a good
of
idea,
course I will.
But you're in the middle of nowhere and it might get scary.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No?
So if you're with family, I think it's all right. Because
Okay.
if someone's going to murder you, they murder the lot of you. So you're all done for.
So you're all in it together.
Yeah, you're all done for
That's
at once.
awful.
Have you got a costume?
No, but I have been thinking about it. My daughter has one. We've been buying bits and pieces on Vinted. So we've got all the bits for her to go as, what's her name? Margot Robbie. And she's got the tiny shorts and a baseball bat.
Oh, that's every film.
Harley Quinn.
Yep, okay. Oh, your daughter will look amazing as Harley Quinn.
She's going to a party. I'm not going to a party. My boy will definitely go out trick-or-treating. It falls during the school holidays and we often go away, not showing off or anything, but we do go away. And they hate that because they just want to be here with their friends.
They're at that age
getting
now.
Big bowls of candy. And we'll be busy answering the door. So we'll have to stay home and answer the door. Maybe we should get dressed up.
You've got to buy a shit ton of
Gotta
lollies.
buy all the sweets. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of annoying. The kids like it, so get over it. Maybe I should get drunk and watch some films with my other half as well.
What's the protocol for sweets? Wrapped only?
No, they don't have to be wrapped. They can be like snakes and rats and things. If you've got rats, we
Okay.
don't have rats anymore. Do you remember rats? I loved them.
I used to
Jelly
love
rats.
a fucking python, a rat, the lot
Yeah,
of
the
them.
king python, the rat, it's like jelly snakes. And you'd take it by the tail and you'd swing it around your head till it got longer. And that meant
Yes.
it lasted for longer. But it didn't really.
No. I used to love the necklace. The candy necklaces and bracelets where you just chew
Yes.
off.
You can get them in bras and pants. I've seen them on Maths UK.
Oh my God.
It's on.
Seriously.
Season 10.
I need that for my next holiday. Leave that to your imagination.
No thanks, Michelle. Christ.
Scary episode.
Bloody hell. So Maths UK is on, I forgot to say.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yes, it's on. I'm catching up. I didn't
How
know.
much have I missed?
I'm about 13 episodes in. I've been watching it this whole week.
All those nights I've been desperate for something to watch.
Maths is on. Like
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. And Paul C. Brunson. God, he can rock a leather trouser and a black kimono combined. My husband's wondering if he should wear something like that. I said, no, you can't. You can't do it like Paul.
We differ about this guy.
I love Paul.
I just get the gay vibes, which is fine, but I'm not a gay man.
He's not gay.
So I don't find him attractive.
He's not gay,
I'm not
Michelle.
Sure. I'm not sure. You just said he's wearing a kimono.
And?
Leather trousers.
How dare you?
I'm not gay shaming. Good for him, but it's just not my cup of tea.
And certainly not leather trouser shaming. My husband has leather trousers, or lederhosen as he calls them.
Yeah. Die Totenhosen. Do you remember them?
Is that a band?
German band. The Dead Trousers. Die Totenhosen.
I don't remember them. But anyway, look, we've gone off topic. One last thing I wanted to tell you was with regards to the protocol, if you want to say you're open for sweetie business, then you should have a lit pumpkin in your drive or in your front window to indicate that you are partaking in this year's revelries and you will be tricked or treated.
Hippy chippy, do not put a fucking pumpkin anywhere near your
Hippy-chippy,
driveway.
Buckle down for Halloween, mate.
Jesus.
Stay safe.
Why are you crying?
Drop it. Right, well, going back to Halloween, I'm going to tell you this week about some hauntings, because that's what we do here at Eavesdroppin. We do like the supernatural. And I'm really hoping I haven't told you this before, because it was a frantic search. I had a good flick through the Chambers Dictionary of the Unexplained, and from there I hit the internet. So I found something for you. It is the hauntings of Hobstones and the witches of Pendle. I feel like we've spoken about the witches of Pendle before, but I couldn't find it when I did a search.
Now, I don't think so, but I will just say, once again, thank you, Jane Beacon and the Beacon twins, for the book that just keeps on giving.
And giving and giving. We are open to gifts. We will receive them.
Yes, we will.
So if you ever found yourself in the Lancashire countryside on a misty October night, the kind of night where the air smells faintly of wood smoke and something unseen rustles in the hedgerows, you might have just stumbled upon a place called Hobstones Farm or Hobstones Farm. Now on paper, Hobstones looks like your typical old English farmhouse, 15th, maybe 16th century origins. It was rebuilt in the 18th century. But this is Eavesdroppin'. And you know we're not here for a bit of Georgian brickwork appreciation. Oh, no! We're here for the hauntings, people. It's a supernatural Halloween episode, so hold on to your broomsticks, witches! Hobstones was once owned by the Parker family from the nearby Lancashire town of Colne. I don't really know how you pronounce that. Colne. Colne?
C-O-L-N?
E on the end. Colne.
Colne.
Colne. Colne.
Colne.
Colne. A place known for its history and culture in the mill trade. Colonel Parker was a royalist during the English Civil War. Side note, a royalist was a supporter. I needed to look this up, so I'm thinking that you probably don't know what it is either.
Colonel Parker, isn't that Kentucky Fried Chicken?
No, it's not. That's Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders. Colonel Parker. Was that Elvis's manager?
No.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Colonel Parker.
Maybe.
I feel like there's another Colonel Parker out there. I think it was Elvis's manager.
It could be that. But this is a different Colonel Parker. He was a royalist. And like I said, Michelle, I'm going to tell you what that is. It's a supporter of King Charles I, who fought against the military forces between 1642 and 1651.
Okay.
There's some history for you. Okay, sit back and relax and listen. Legend has it that Colonel Parker had an almighty clash with parliamentary troops, because he was a royalist, right there on the property of Hobstones. And ever since, locals say a phantom troop of Roundheads have been spotted marching across the nearby fields, complete with muskets and pikes, like a ghostly army doomed to fight a battle that ended centuries ago. But that's not even the creepiest bit. The real haunting of Hobstones kicked off in the 1950s when a tenant farmer had the fright of his life, Michelle, whilst going red for nanny, as my husband calls it. Yes, he was sitting on the loo.
Oh, my
the dunny,
God.
the toilet.
He was cracking one out.
Oh, cracking one out. I think that's different. Going red for nanny.
It's doing a poo.
Yeah, that's not cracking one out.
No, cracking one off is what you're
What?
thinking of. Cracking one out is from the bum.
I have never heard that as a description for doing
Please
a poo.
write in if I'm incorrect.
You don't crack them out. I'm pretty sure. But imagine the scene, not all the details that we've just gone through, because that's disgusting. Dawn is breaking, birds are chirping, and our poor chap doing his business in the outside lavvy. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and there stands, or should I say, floats, a twisted little dwarfish figure in monk-like robes holding out a bleeding severed arm.
Oh, my God.
Well, thank God he was already seated with trow down, because that farmer had an extreme reaction of fear. And before you know it, the figure vanished.
Okay.
And his rectum
Contracted.
also contracted.
I mean, I would feel quite trapped. You're on the bog.
Yes.
And you can't do anything because you are...
Trow down.
Well, yeah, first of all, you're going to fall over. but also there's nowhere to go. I have to say, though, I do like an outdoor toilet. I do like the breeze coming through.
Oh, right.
And also, like you say, hear nature, hear the birds chirping. My sister recently had rented a house that had an outdoor toilet. The girls were like, we're not going there. It's going to be spiders. And I'm like, give me that bog roll. And I went out and I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Lovely.
Segue.
We have a compost loo on some land that we have, and that's quite breezy. I like it though.
Is it
up the clacker?
Like a breeze up the clack? Yeah.
Moving on. God, we've been quite scatological.
It's like a fan.
Yeah, it's like a fan up the jacksie.
Fanny.
We have been very rude this episode, and I apologise for that.
I know.
I feel a bit embarrassed. Not really.
About a fanny fan.
Just about all the poo talk.
All the poo talk, my God.
But anyway, this farmer and his wife, they had 2 more encounters of this type before deciding to move out. And it may not have all been on the outside lavvy. I don't know.
Right.
The weird thing is, though, Michelle, that Hobstones actually got its name from the Saxon hob, meaning a hobgoblin or evil dwarf. So could that be foreshadowing?
Maybe.
Then there's this little weird dwarfy thing with his severed arm. There was never a monastery at Hobstones either, but historians say some of the stone used to rebuild the farmhouse in the 18th century came from nearby Sawley Abbey, which was one of the many monasteries that was brutally dissolved under Henry VIII, where he went about taking all these places down brick by brick, which displaced nuns and monks and all those people who called it home. Ruined communities. It was all rather brutal. So maybe this haunting was a monk from that time who wanted revenge on the king, attached to the brickwork.
Maybe.
Or stone tape.
Stone tape could be. Now, may I interject? So many segues, so many tangents this episode. Sorry. Have you seen in the last 10 years, there are wire cages filled with stones, and they use them now as
fences. Yes. Yeah.
I will say this, in Sweden, they have this at the cemetery. And in the cemetery are all the old headstones that have been chopped up, like broken up. So you see a bit of a name. And I don't like this.
It feels a little disrespectful.
The thing is, you have to pay. You have to pay to have your plot.
And then when you stop paying, they rip up that headstone.
In Sweden. And if you stop paying...
bury someone else on top of you.
Yeah, and they crunch it up and you become a fence.
Well, you don't become a fence, Michelle. Let's get it straight. The headstone does. Yeah.
Your headstone does. I feel like it's a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I've agreed.
Please write in.
Others can also shout into the ether. We love that. So back to my Hobstone story. Things then went quiet for a while until the 1970s, when the farm at Hobstones was converted into 3 cottages and the residents were Mr. and Mrs. Pat Berry. Well, all I can say is it turned full poltergeist on them.
Oh my God.
Because it would start with shaking walls. Then there was a washing machine that apparently launched itself across the kitchen. The weird thing was, though, that on top of that washing machine, they had a box of eggs. And after the flying washing machine incident, all the white eggs were smashed on the floor, leaving just the brown ones untouched in the shape of a cross. Now, I don't know if that's just bullshit. I found that in a newspaper article, which I shall send to you to link up.
Oh, goodness me.
That wasn't the only thing that smashed. Milk bottles would smash. Packets of lard and margarine flew across the kitchen. An antique wardrobe was seen to move across the room. And on another occasion, there were rocks and stones rolling down the stairs. I'd hate that.
Yes.
I would hate that.
Me too. Me too. I would hate any of this. Your house would be a big fucking mess.
Absolutely. Panes of glass from the windows blew out onto the yard, shattered from the inside. And when Mr. Berry went to find the glass, all he could see was a pile of powder.
Oh.
It's just weird, Michelle. I don't like it.
No, it is a bit weird. So what's going on here?
Well, one night the Berrys heard thuds at the door and they swore up and down they saw the culprit. It was a giant, ghostly fist pounding on the door, disembodied. We've heard stories like this before. Don't you roll your eyes. I saw that.
Just a fist.
Yeah.
Gloved?
No. It sounds like the hairy hand of Dartmoor, doesn't it?
It does.
Mrs. Berry also said that on 3 separate occasions she saw a cavalier in her youngest daughter's bedroom, and each time he was in different states of undress.
Oh my God, he wants to
armour on, armour off. Knickers on, knickers off.
He wants to get sexy with this girl in there, the daughter. This is nasty.
Please.
Nasty. It doesn't matter how old.
There was a ghost hunter from Burnley by the name of Terence Whitaker. Shout out to an eavesdropper named Terence Whitaker, by the way.
Yes, Tessa.
We've got one. He went there with a film crew, this ghost hunter. And when he got back to the studios in Manchester, after taking shots of the interior and the exterior and all around, none of the interior shots could be developed. All that was left was hundreds of feet of blank tape.
Oh.
I know. Creepy. Then it all came to a head on the 29th of September in 1974 when the local press gleefully reported that Hobstones was being attacked by wailing demons. So it made the papers.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
It was famous, Michelle. Reverend Noel Hawthorne came from Colne to assist, along with a seasoned exorcist, with pints of holy water. And after a while, the activity did fade away, thank goodness. But as we know, Michelle, hauntings never really end, do they?
Well, not if they've attached themselves to you.
Well, especially around Halloween was what I was going to say. Because that was just for starters. Because now we're going on a tour of the area of Hobstones. Because just up the road from there is another place steeped in supernatural lore. And it's called Malkin Tower Farm. This is the land of the Pendle witches. Yes, those Pendle witches that we've all heard about, and I feel like we've spoken about before, but maybe we haven't. And in case you don't know, here's an AI overview. I hope there's no hallucinations. The Pendle witches were 12 people from the Pendle Hill area of Lancashire, accused of witchcraft and murder in 1612. This is during the reign of King James I. The witch trials began after an incident where a peddler was cursed and fell ill. And this involved two rival families, the Demdikes and the Chattocks family.
Demdikes
And the Chattocks family.
Okay.
The accused included the elder of the family, known as Old Demdike, who was an 80-year-old woman who died in prison. Ultimately, 10 people were sentenced to death and executed by hanging at Lancaster Castle. The name Malkin, as in Malkin Tower Farm, is Old English slang for scarecrow or untidy woman, so named because it was the location of the trials. And the original Malcolm Tower was the home of Old Demdike, who was alleged to be the leader of this coven. But this location has actually been up for debate for centuries. And some say it was Malcolm Tower Farm, but others claim it was closer to Newchurch or even the site of Blacko Tower, which can still be seen to this day, looming ominously from the hillside. It's an actual place in Lancashire, Michelle. Yes, Blacko Tower.
Okay.
Yeah. But what is known is that on Good Friday, 1612, a group of terrified friends and family of the accused witches gathered at Malkin Tower, not to conjure demons as rumoured, but to figure out what to do next after all their loved ones had been rounded up and imprisoned. But that meeting sealed their fate. Almost everyone who attended was later arrested and condemned, probably because it looked suspicious and everyone was crying witch at the drop of a hat.
Right.
So that was the end of that lot, unfortunately. But speaking of Blacko Tower, or the Folly, as locals call it, it has a mystery all of its own. It was built in the late 1800s by a local grocer who wanted to see across into Ribblesdale, but he discovered too late that the tower wasn't tall enough. Bit of a whoopsie there with regards to his building prowess.
Well, the architecture's a bit fucked because if you wanted the view, surely you would be like...
How could he fuck that up?
Sorry, it's a bit dumb.
But one morning in 1964, villagers woke to find the entire tower had been whitewashed overnight. There was no sign of culprits, no footprints, no paint cans, no explanation, just a now white Blacko Tower.
Oh my God. Very strange.
Could have been a prank.
Yeah, but that's a big prank. Having just painted a house myself.
It's a big job.
In the last 6 months. It takes fucking days. Yeah. So that is quite strange.
So was it a prank, Michelle, or was someone trying to cleanse the place to rid it of these bad vibes of what I've just told you about, all of the witches being murdered and hung and whatnot?
Yes.
To rid it of all the superstition. So this Halloween, UK eavesdroppers, if you find yourself wandering through the Lancashire hills, keep your wits about you. You might catch a glimpse of a phantom soldier, a bleeding monk with a severed arm, or a flicker of witchlight from Malkin Tower. All remind us that history never truly dies. It just lingers, waiting to be researched and retold on this podcast.
Or if your house turns fucking white, like your hair might after that hair-raising story, creepy eepy.
Okay.
Hey, are you scared of the dark? How would you like it if we hit you up with hauntings and horror? Would you be too scared and scream it up the hoo-ha? And now I'll tell you all the supernatural stories of the world.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows home so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
Well, thank you for that story. I also am looking at a story, but a different kind of story. And because...
Like a haunting?
No, an actual story.
Oh.
Because, obviously, we're looking at all the spooky-ooky, scary stuff, and I thought, what better way to honour Halloween than to take a little dive into the king of horror himself?
Stephen King.
Yes!
Good job I got that right. Who else could it have been?
Who else?
Tim Curry?
No, he's Frankenfurter.
So who else would be the king of horror?
No one.
No one. It's only Stephen King.
It's only him.
I love Stephen King.
I love him too. But it's been a while since I've read any of his books or even watched any of his movies.
All right. I think it's time to go nuts and watch some.
That's
I know there's
what
a few
think.
good things out at the moment.
From him?
Yeah.
Like what?
I can't remember.
Like stories? Because he released some short stories recently.
Films, TV shows and films and things. Yeah.
Well, they have done some remakes, actually. He does hold a special place in my heart because even though his books and movies, I think, have always been very fucking scary, I would say I think he is the king of horror because he manages to kind of blend the supernatural with stories that are always really very human.
Yes, that's true.
And for me, you get emotionally invested in the actual stories and the people, and you become as much kind of invested in them as you are in the actual horror of the story. You know, think about Carrie, like you feel so sorry for Carrie as a person, but you're also in this fucking horror story. And I think also because he does look at these universal fears like death and madness and isolation and being an outsider.
Yeah.
And I think he has a beautiful way of kind of putting that all together within the context of everyday life. His characters too, they're always in many ways very believable. So it's always good and evil, but it's always a story. He's very good at the stories that kind of touch your heart. Like with Carrie, for example, you know, you feel a bit sad for her, but you also get the scares, right?
Yeah.
So before I get to that though, I found this thing on Reddit about Stephen King. You know, with Reddit, you take it all with a pinch of salt, but I thought it was right up our alley.
Okay.
Apparently, in 1979, when Stephen King was, you know, he was already very successful and very well known as this best-selling author, but he was still kind of putting himself out there, you know, doing PR stuff, trying to promote his books. Well, he went to New York to go on a late-night TV talk show. And when it was all over, as he was leaving, there were apparently loads of fans hanging around outside the studio trying to get his autograph.
Yeah.
And I think that was a real thing back then. You know, people would wait. So according to him, he said they were a little, quote, strange.
Oh.
He said, you look in their eyes and it's like looking into vacant houses. They don't know why they want autographs. They just want them. And then you realize not only is this house vacant, but it's haunted.
Oh, God. What?
And I was thinking, that is not the nicest way to talk about your fans.
Not really.
I don't think we'd ever talk about our eavesdroppers in that way.
No, certainly not.
But he is the king of horror, so I guess he's always looking for the horror angle. But look, apparently there was a young guy there who was kind of pale and wearing wire-rimmed glasses, who was very, very persistent that he wanted more than an autograph. He wanted a Polaroid of himself with Stephen King. Stephen didn't want to do it. He was running late.
No, I feel the same way, Stephen. I'm also a bit creeped out about this guy. And it's making me think of some stories that we've told years ago when there's ghosts in the Polaroid.
Oh my God.
Sorry, but it is Halloween.
It is Halloween.
The veil is thin.
Exactly. He didn't want to do the Polaroid, but, you know, he was like, fuck, I just want this guy to get away from me and I need to get out of here. So he was like, okay, I'll pose for the Polaroid with you. And of course, then you have to sign the Polaroid.
Right.
And he said, quote, the guy was weird, man. He was like a quasar. I mean, this is very language of the time, right?
What's a quasar?
Quasar, isn't that like a weird star or something?
I have no idea.
Me either. And he said he just wasn't there. But someone took the picture, and when it came out, I wrote, to Mark, best wishes, Stephen King. Now, apparently, the full name the fan had given Stephen King was Mark Chapman. Yes. A little bit like your Debbie Harry story about getting a lift with a serial killer.
Yeah, well, Mark Chapman, isn't he the one that murdered John Lennon?
Yes. So Stephen King, he was like, fuck. Afterwards, he's like, I'm not sure if this is the guy, because this is before he shot John Lennon.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And
he's in prison after.
He got the autographs from Stephen King before.
Yes,
I understand. But
what?
But what am I saying? A couple of years before, I think.
All right.
And he was like, fuck, was that the guy that shot John Lennon an hour or whatever it was after getting an autograph from John Lennon?
Hang on. So he knew that?
No.
At the time? This is so years later.
No.
What?
So Stephen King had this creepy encounter with the guy who wanted a Polaroid called Mark Chapman. A couple of years later...
Yeah, okay, then
John Lennon was killed. And
yes,
after John Lennon gave an autograph to this guy,
yes,
he then was murdered.
Yes.
And obviously Stephen King's like, fuck.
Did he dodge literally a bullet?
Yes, because apparently one of the PR people who had been there when that photo was taken was like, that's the guy and that's his name. I know. And Stephen King has never found out if it was him or not. But he was freaked out by it, especially as Mark Chapman has said, well, and he said after his arrest, he had considered killing other celebrities, including Jackie Onassis, Johnny Carson, and Elizabeth Taylor. So why not Stephen King? Especially if he was into dark books. Who knows? But he's a murderer.
Yeah.
But apparently in 1979... they say Mark Chapman was living in Hawaii. Weird. I didn't know that. And he was apparently broke. So people think it was unlikely that he would have had the money to go to New York. But who knows?
Did he remote view himself, maybe? Did he?
Could be. But he was a big name, so he could have been a target in his mind. Who knows?
Of course.
And it's a mystery we might never get to the bottom of. Unless...
Good story, though. Oh, okay.
Unless someone asks him, because the dude is still alive.
Mark Chapman.
Yes. And he's still serving his prison sentence for killing John Lennon. And apparently he applied for parole last month.
Oh, shit.
Was denied. So what I was going to say is if any of our eavesdroppers have any connections to this crim.
Who has a connection?
Never know, but get in touch because ask him, did you take a Polaroid of you and Stephen King back in the day? I want to know.
Oh, okay. On behalf of Michelle, but not me, please. I'd rather not know.
But back to Stephen's books.
Okay.
Have you, Geordie, ever read Pet Sematary?
Not read it, but I've seen the film.
Okay.
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. That's the Ramones.
Yes, the Ramones. Well, I don't remember if I actually read the book or not because I'm sure Mum had Stephen King books everywhere.
She had them all. She had all the Lace novels as well. She had
Flowers in the
Attic.
She had everything. And back in the day, those Stephen King books, they did look like a scary version of romance novels because they had the metallic embossing. So I wouldn't be surprised if I might have gotten mixed up. There was a lot of shit we read when we were kids when we
They
shouldn't
shouldn't
have.
have, yeah.
No. So, Jen, get in touch if you had the Stephen King novels. For anyone who has never read Pet Sematary or seen the film or even heard of it, I'm going to give you a little rundown of the plot. So if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. So when Dr. Lewis Creed moves with his wife Rachel, their 2 children, Ellie and Gage, and Ellie's cat Winston Churchill, to a quiet rural town in Maine, they discover a mysterious burial ground hidden in the woods behind their new house. Mm-hmm. They're told by their neighbour, Judd Crandall, to never go near that ancient burial ground because it's a place where the dead don't stay dead. But like all good Stephen King books, tragedy strikes this poor family again and again. First, Winston Churchill is hit by a truck and killed. Gets buried in the ancient Pet Sematary. The next day, cat's alive.
It's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same. Then Lewis's son, Gage, is killed by a truck in what has been described as one of the most shocking scenes ever from an 80s film. Oh, it's fucking horrifying. So grief drives this guy, Lewis, the dad, to bury their son in the Pet Sematary. He wants him to come back to life. But
not the same.
He's not the same. And then it just turns into like this whole thing about how is he going to get rid of this evil child? And there is so much horror that goes on in this film, and it's so fucking scary. And actually, the film has so many dodgy 80s visuals of the cat has like the glowing eyes, and it looks like it doesn't even look like a real cat. I was laughing, but also going at the same time, what the fuck? It's scary.
Did you watch it recently?
I watched quite a lot of clips. I didn't watch the whole thing.
The whole thing, because I don't remember it. It's been such a long time.
I think we need to watch it.
No.
No.
It's not one of the better ones.
I was keen to find out if there was a backstory to this book. And after some digging, I found some great interviews where Stephen King really opens up about his inspiration for it. So in 1979, while he was working as a writer in residence at the University of Maine at Orono, wherever that is, Stephen King was living with his wife Tabby and his kids Naomi, Joe and Owen, and they'd rented a house in Orrington, and it was really close to a busy road that had a lot of trucks whizzing by. And like any busy road, and again, Jen, she's being brought up a lot in this episode, Jen will attest to this. When you live near a main road, it is a disaster for pets.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we grew up with cats, and I cannot even tell you how many we lost to them being hit by cars.
Lost under the wheels of those 10-ton trucks.
Because whenever we would hear the screech of tyres, we would run out and, fuck, man, we just had to hope that our little kitty was not under the wheel of a car. And it was traumatizing. I mean, we were all in floods of tears for our whole childhood because we just kept getting cats and they just kept getting run over. So, like us, Stephen King lived on this busy main road where pets were always being hit by passing trucks. And in the woods behind their house, the local kids had built this small pet cemetery because it wasn't just their pets that were being killed, because it was anyone who was on
all
that.
Of them.
Yeah. And some kid had written a sign where it was misspelled as cemetery. And that's where he got the inspiration for the misspelling of the book title. One day, his daughter Naomi's cat, Schmucky, was actually killed by a passing truck. Aww. And Stephen had to bury that cat in the pet cemetery and then go tell his daughter what had happened. And apparently it was 3 days after that they'd buried Schmucky that the idea for Pet Sematary came to him, because
Schmucky came back.
Well, he was wondering what would happen if a young family were to lose their family cat to a passing truck, and then the father, rather than tell his daughter, your cat's dead, instead just buried the cat in the pet cemetery, which actually could reanimate the cat. And then the cat came back the next day to the family house. And like we had just said before, well, the cat looks the same, not the same. And this is a quote from Stephen King about how the story all came together. He said, quote, "I can remember crossing the road and thinking that the cat had been killed on the road." He's talking about Schmucky.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought, what if a kid died on that road?
Oh, God. Dark.
Yeah, and he said, we had had this experience with his son, Owen, running towards the road where I had just grabbed him and pulled him back. In my mind, the two things just came together. On one side of this 2-lane highway was the idea of, what if the dead cat came back? And on the other side of the highway was, what if the kid came back?
Always working, Stephen. Always working. Not just walking about parenting.
Yeah.
You're also working. Well done.
Exactly. So he said when he reached the other side of the road, he said, I had been galvanized by the idea, not in a melodramatic way. I knew immediately that this was a novel. Then he gave an interview to the Paris Review about Pet Sematary, and he said actually that the story was really personal to him. I've also read that this book was the scariest thing he'd ever written. And apparently everything in it, right up to the point where the little boy is killed by a truck on the road, he said everything is true. And this is another quote. He said, we moved into that house by the road. It was Orrington instead of Ludlow, but the big trucks did go by and the old guy across the street did say, you just want to watch them round the road. He said, we did go out in the field. We flew kites. We did go up and look at the pet cemetery. I did find my daughter's cat Schmucky dead in the road, run over. We did bury him up in the pet cemetery. And I did hear Naomi out in the garage the night after we buried him. I heard all these popping noises. She was jumping up and down on packing material. So I think he means bubble wrap.
Right.
She was crying and saying, give me my cat back. Let God have his own cat.
Oh.
And he said, I just dumped that right into the book.
Yeah.
Always working.
Amazing.
And then he said, and Owen, his son, really did go charging for the road. He was this little guy, probably 2 years old. I'm yelling,
God.
Don't do that. And of course, he runs faster and laughs because that's what they do at that age. And he said, I ran after him and gave him a flying tackle and pulled him down on the shoulder of the road, and a truck just thundered by him.
Oh, God. Close call.
Yeah, so all of that went into the book.
Yeah.
He says, and then you say to yourself, you have to go a little bit further. If you're going to take on this grieving process, what happens when you lose a kid? You ought to go all the way through it, and I did. I'm proud of that because I followed it all the way through, but it was so gruesome by the end of it and so awful. He says, I mean, there's no hope for anybody at the end of that book.
No, it's a bit bleak, yeah.
He says, usually I give my drafts to my wife, Tabby, to read, but I didn't give it to her. When I finished, I put it in the desk and it just stayed there. He said, I worked on Christine, which I liked a lot better and which was published before Pet Sematary. So the reason Pet Sematary was published in 1983 at all, it was because he had to fulfill a contractual obligation with Doubleday Publishing because he needed to sever the relationship with that publisher. And his lawyer basically said, you got to give him one more book.
And he couldn't bear to write one, so he already had one locked away, so out it popped.
Exactly. He had that in the drawer. It was too disturbing to ever publish, he thought, but...
Well, they loved it.
Yeah, the screws were tightening
Bring it on.
from Doubleday, so he was like, fucking, here it is, handed it over.
Have this piece of absolute horror.
Yep, because he needed to get out of that shit contract. Basically, if his lawyer had not advised him to, like, get out of that relationship given that book, Pet Sematary might never have seen the light of day. To just wrap this up, I'm going to give you a few little interesting facts about Pet Sematary.
All right.
So the character of Judd Crandall, who is played by an actor called Fred Gwynne in the film.
Fred Gwynne. Oh, yeah.
Fred Gwynne.
Wasn't he in The Munsters?
Could be.
Wasn't he the monster?
Could
The
be.
main guy?
Google that.
I'm Googling.
Well, apparently that character was based on the elderly neighbour that lived across the road from Stephen King and his family.
Yeah.
And it seems like he kind of does this because I read, but could not actually verify, that there were other weird things about that movie.
Yeah.
Which he actually wrote.
Yes, he was Herman Munster.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So Stephen King doesn't normally write the screenplays for his films. And in fact, I've read, when asked, that he hates The Shining. He says they ruined his book.
Oh, no.
Yeah, interesting. So he wrote this one. there was a character apparently called Missy who he'd supposedly based on a friend who had died of cancer, and he wrote this character to honour her. So that's why that character is there. Also, again unverified, apparently the truck driver in the film who runs over the little boy, it was a guy who in real life had lost his own son to a car accident where his kid was run over.
Oh, no. What, after the film?
That happened before.
Oh, God.
So he'd lost his child to his child getting run over, and then he played the truck driver who runs over a kid.
But wouldn't that be so triggering?
Yes. Apparently he was in sobbing fits afterwards and then never spoke about it ever again.
That's trauma. Poor man.
And then speaking of the film, Stephen King actually made a cameo in Pet Sematary. He was the minister, and he's all fire and brimstone, and he's absolutely fantastic in it. And as you sang earlier, Stephen King is a massive Ramones fan, and he really wanted the Ramones to write a song for the movie. So he gave Dee Dee Ramone a copy of the book, and apparently Dee Dee wrote the lyrics in an hour.
Very easy. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. Who does? Thanks, Dee Dee.
I know. I mean, say what you see. And the song was featured in the closing credits of the film.
Yes.
And I think it's an iconic song. It's one of the
it's fun.
most loved Ramones songs, I would say.
Not Blitzkrieg Bop. Oh, wonderful, Michelle. Thank you. I love it when you go hard and go deep into Stephen King. That doesn't sound right.
I don't need to. Well, it's worse if he went hard and deep.
Stop it.
No, anyway.
Guys, we're sorry. It just always goes wrong. I don't know what's happening.
Filthy mind. You've got a filthy mind.
We're tired and emotional.
It has really inspired me to want to read his books again, because when I was online doing the research, there were a lot of people who were talking about Pet Sematary saying, you know, the film is obviously this horror film, but when you read the book, it is so full of heart and you really feel for this family. And like I was saying earlier, he writes really human characters that people can relate to.
Well, because it's all based on true stuff, like real life, things that have happened, even words that have been spoken.
Yes, you know, his daughter's words based on things that actually happened in his family. I think he's a really interesting writer. I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves for being
you don't think?
A good writer. I mean, he's got all the money, he's got the fame.
I think he gets some credit. I think he's well revered.
For his genre, but I wonder if so-called serious writers, I wonder if they actually respect what he does.
Well, I think they do, because he wrote that wonderful book, For Writers on Writing.
He did. So I've been very inspired. I was thinking, you know, I need some airport reading. I'm going to go...
Get the horrors in.
I know.
Don't read it on a plane, though.
I was thinking of reading it on the plane or on holiday.
Yeah, on a beach, fine, but not on a plane.
And I thought, I've never seen it.
Oh, I don't know if I can. You give it a whirl for me and let me know if I can handle it, because I've got a problem with clowns. Clowns and zombies.
So I was talking to Andreas and I was saying, fuck, clowns are scary. And he's like, no, they're not. They're very happy.
What?
They're happy. They go to hospitals and give joy to children. And I'm like, I don't know what fucking world you live in, but clowns are scary. But anyway, on that note,
it's time for us to give you a spooky wave, a three-fingered wave or something. I'm trying to think of the spookiest wave I know.
Well, a little clown honk. How about that? Oh my God, that was fucking scary.
I pressed my nose at the same time.
That was very John Wayne Gacy.
But you know what's going to happen now? Well, who knows what's going to happen now? Normally we say the three things that we always say, but anything could happen, Michelle. It's Halloween.
I know.
But we will say them anyway,
yes.
Wherever you are.
Whatever you do, just keep
eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping, this is the song. Drop it like it's hot.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey, I'm Paige DeSorbo, and I'm always thinking about underwear.
I'm Hannah Berner, and I'm also thinking about underwear, but I prefer full coverage. I like to call them my granny panties.
Actually, I never think about underwear. That's the magic of Tommy John.
Same. They're so light and so comfy, and if it's not comfortable, I'm not wearing it.
And the bras, soft, supportive, and actually breathable.
Yes, Lord knows the girls need to breathe. Also, I need my PJs to breathe and be buttery soft and stretchy enough for my dramatic tossing and turning at night. That's why I live in my Tommy John pajamas.
Plus, they're so cute because they fit perfectly.
Put yourself on to Tommy John.
Upgrade your drawer with Tommy John. Save 25% for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/comfort. See site for details.